Hi, welcome to Proven Cures. I'm your host, Sarah McLeod. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 2019, and I am doing this video this evening for all of the people who are suffering from traction alopecia. And you might be wondering, why did I choose traction alopecia as opposed to other forms of alopecia? I know there's androgenetic alopecia that occurs when you have a high amount of testosterone in your system, especially, for women that can be jarring. There's chemotherapy-induced alopecia. There's something called alopecia areata. And the reason why I chose to focus on traction alopecia for this video is because if you have a high amount of testosterone in your system and you notice that you are getting female pattern hair loss or even male pattern hair loss, you might say, well, it's something genetic, or this is weird, let me go to a doctor. Likewise, if you have chemotherapy-induced alopecia, that is something that was probably discussed with you prior to starting chemotherapy. So it was something you expected, and ways of managing it were also more than likely discussed with you as well. Same thing with alopecia areata, or scarring from alopecia. It's a medical condition. So it's not something that you caused yourself. It's not something that you can really blame yourself for. So you're going to go to a doctor and you're going to listen to what therapies are available and consider them for your benefit. The thing with traction alopecia is a lot of people that are suffering from, first let me explain. Traction alopecia is hair loss due to constant pulling on the hair follicles. So a lot of people who are suffering from traction alopecia are essentially blaming themselves, or if they tell a friend or a hairdresser, that person blames them. They'll say, well, stop getting your braids so tight. Stop putting your hair up in these tight ponytails. Stop pulling on your hair follicles. It's your fault. Or you're gluing fake hair onto your real hair, and then when you remove the fake hair, your real hair comes off with it, right? So those are some of the reasons for traction alopecia, and those people are kind of like suffering in silence because they feel like, well, it's my fault. And then even in this study that I'm about to share, the first thing they say, there's three modes of managing traction alopecia. And the first mode is conservative management. Conservative management meaning stop wearing that hairstyle. So I'm actually about to share something that actually works, several options that you can take into consideration if traction alopecia is an issue for you. So the title of the study is Traction Alopecia, a Neglected Entity in 2017. It was conducted at the Department of Dermatology School of Medicine at Cardiff University in the UK. The publishers are Christiana, Oyinlola, Akingbola. I think that is a Nigerian name, and I hope I didn't mess it up. And the other publisher is Jui, Jui, Vyas, or Vyas, Vyas. This was published August 31st of 2017. So it's a fairly new publication. And I'm going to just jump straight to the good stuff here, because I've already discussed what traction alopecia is, how it occurs, basically from pulling on the hair follicles too much to where the strands of hair actually come out. I have some pictures here provided by the study that shows what traction alopecia can look like. So this is traction alopecia I hope you can see that, at the back of the head. Maybe this can occur from rubbing, maybe rubbing on a hat, rubbing on the back of your clothes, constant friction that causes the hair to come out. And here's a more pronounced version. And here it is. How well you can see that. Here it is along the hairline, right here, where the hair is being pulled back so much that it's coming out. Okay, and those are examples of traction alopecia. A lot of people are there are a lot of jokes and stuff that circulate in social media about edges, saving your edges, and a lot of African American women or women of African descent are all tend to be the targets of those jokes. I've never had that problem, but I don't take it as a joking matter. If you are trying to beautify by adding extensions to your hair, which I do that, but I just don't glue anything, so I don't have to worry about my hair being pulled out. Or you're also always wearing your hair in a style because maybe you do that for work. A lot of people who are in service jobs, police officers, those kind of jobs require you to keep your hair confined. And when you constantly have to wear those hairstyles, the result can often be traction alopecia. And then those women, because they want to look neat or they want to look groomed, have to suffer ridicule for the results of trying to look nice. To me, that's absolutely ridiculous, wrong, and people really need to stop doing that. Stop hurting other women's feelings for trying to beautify. That is absolutely ridiculous, and men should stop doing it too, because it's just not fair. A lot of times men grow older and start to lose their hair due to genetics, and they're not, they'll just shave off the rest of their heads to match it, or they just become accustomed to it because the world accepts them the way they are. And women, unfortunately, are held to a different standard. So hopefully today I'll be able to help those women. So 3 forms of medical management are identified by this study. And the first one is conservative management, which is what I stated earlier. Conservative management simply means wear looser hairstyles and avoid chemical damage, avoid glued in hair pieces. All right, everybody who's tuned into this because of the title has heard that already, okay? There's also 2 things you can do that go a step further. Okay, now the first one is an anti-inflammatory preparation, and I'll just read this straight the way it is. Oral and topical antibiotics are recommended for treating traction folliculitis for their anti-inflammatory effects. So what that means is you would actually go to a dermatologist, have the dermatologist test your scalp or the area where the traction alopecia is to see if you're suffering from a form of folliculitis. And if you are, the dermatologist can prescribe an antibiotic, probably topical, one that you would just rub into the area, that would take away the inflammation and actually encourage the hair to grow back. Okay, and if you are not suffering from folliculitis, there is something that you can purchase over the counter that a lot of people purchase to encourage hair growth when they don't feel at fault for their hair loss. And it's something you've heard of already. It's minoxidil, topical minoxidil, 2%. Okay, in a case report by Kamalo and Nagawanya, traction alopecia refractory to cessation of traction-inducing practices for up to 2 years. So what that means is this person that was included in this study had been doing things or wearing hairstyles that cause traction alopecia for 2 years. So it's 2 years of offensive behavior. Actually treated the scalp that was losing hair with the 2% minoxidil topically for 3 months, and the hair started to regrow. It is also routinely used in the peri and post-operative period of hair transplantation to reduce graft loss and encourage regrowth. So you may have been thinking I was going to come up with something amazing, but go and buy the 2% minoxidil, topical minoxidil. One brand name for it that I know is Rogaine. You can buy it over the counter and start to apply it to the areas where you've lost hair, and you'll find it to grow back within a 3-month period, maybe before that. Also, the third management is surgical management. In refractory cases of late traction alopecia, surgical options include punch grafting, micro or mini grafting, and follicular unit transplants. And the choice of technique is tailored to the patient and the pattern of hair loss. Punch graft hair transplants involve transferring 2 to 4 millimeter round grafts to the area of alopecia. Follicular unit transplantation has superseded this technique, however. A microscopically dissected follicular unit, 1 to 4 follicles growing in a bundle, is implanted at the recipient site. What it was found also in another study published by Callender et al. Was that follicular unit transplants seemed more suited to straighter Caucasoid hair strands, while mini and punch grafting were better in those of African descent. So I hope that helps you. I also gave you all the information on the study. Oh, the study was published in the Indian Journal of Dermatology, Venereology, and Leprology. Okay, it is called Traction Alopecia, a Neglected Entity in 2017. If you want to get the study for yourself, look up what I'm saying. And I wish you the best of luck. Now you know that you can actually try Rogaine, try 2% minoxidil on the areas of hair loss. Give it a 3-month wait time. And should you have hair growth, don't go back to your old ways, whatever was causing the hair loss, because what it was found is that with traction alopecia, if you get the hair to grow back to that area the first time, if you start to neglect your hair or harm your hair in any kind of way again, the second time you might not be so lucky. Okay, so I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, please, and share. And thank you. Have a good one.